boom, boom, boom. And then Annie's just... And
I love how adamant George Lucas was about each pod racer engine sounding unique. He wanted each one to have its own personality, and when working on the sound design with Ben Burtt, seemingly spent a lot of time trying to create this. This, of course, comes from his background of cars. George Lucas always loved cars. That's why he made American Graffiti way back in the day, and appreciates the differences and subtle uniqueness of each individual engine. 1 to 10, what do you rate Revenge of the Sith? Very simple answer. High ground. Anakin watching as his lightsaber is destroyed by Ben and Rey in Episode 8. Not looking too happy. Anakin watching as Leia calls his lightsaber her brother's lightsaber. Oh boy. Anakin watching as Rey buries his lightsaber on Tatooine in the sand. So I was just watching an old interview with Diego Luna from a few years ago, and it turns out that while he was marketing Rogue One, he had a very strange obsession with a certain Star Wars character.
Jabba, come on, touching his, like his belly, like, oh, I was so tempted.
I agree with you, Diego. Just as I have a weird obsession with the Sarlacc pit, I'm glad that you also wish to find out what Jabba's texture feels like. Also, I know he realizes that he's saying it wrong towards the end, but he also revealed that his family gives him multiple Jabba the Hutts, like he has like 8 of them at home. If there's one Star Wars character I want lying all around my house, it's Jabba the Hutt. Mark Hamill had a crazy suggestion for the true identity of Boba Fett. Between the making of Empire and Return of the Jedi, Mark Hamill came up with the idea that Boba Fett could be revealed as Luke's mother. A few years back, he tweeted, "Then there was the time I pitched Boba Fett as Luke's mother. I've always been more than willing to generously share my many, many terrible ideas in the off chance we might stumble across one that could actually be useful. At the time, I didn't even know Leia was my sister, so clearly George already had his plans and his ideas, and he was like, Mark, please, leave the storytelling to me." But Mark thought it was the only way they could top Vader being my father. I envisioned her as a double agent working clandestinely for the rebels. Spoiler alert, he didn't like my idea. Man, one thing I really love about Obi-Wan, this show, is the characterization of Vader. They're really, in this episode, episode 5, they're starting to nail what Vader is all about. There is pain within him. He feels for his master, but he thinks he's failed, and he wants revenge. Can we all just take a second to appreciate Vader not even drawing his own lightsaber is the most absurdly ridiculous Darth Vader thing to do. He's like, no, I don't even need my own lightsaber to fight you and kill you. I'm just gonna force block here, force push here. Yep, I'll take your saber, cut it in half. Here you go. Here's your half back. I don't need that. I'll take it back again, and I'm going to stab you. There you go. Reva, a Star Wars story. My hands are literally in front of my face watching this scene. Cyril is trying to hit on Dedra. He's trying to pick her up. He's been stalking her. He's following her to work and back. He's hanging out outside her office on Coruscant and is waiting for an opportunity to swoop in and woo her with his love for fascism, order, and the Empire. This is one of the hardest scenes in Star Wars to watch, and I loved every single second of it. It's so cringe. It's so hilarious. I was laughing. My neighbors must think I'm a madman. Did you know that Yoda was nearly played by a monkey? I'm not even kidding. In the 2010 book, The Making of Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, for the first time, we got to see behind-the-scenes information and footage of a monkey and his trainer that were hired on set to play Yoda. The monkey was dressed in a few different costumes and even given a cane. However, soon after, George and the producers realized that it was going to be quite unrealistic to make Yoda a monkey because filming with an animal is obviously really tricky. So George decided to invest in the animatronics, ILM, and puppets. How different would Star Wars have been if Yoda was actually a monkey? My goodness.
I am not a bounty hunter.
Nope, I just got my boys with me.
I've got some boys with me, 3 other guys, all dressed up. I'm the first player.
So I just had this crazy, huge moment of realization while watching Obi-Wan. Bail Organa says to Leia, one day the people of this place are going to look up to you.
One day this planet will look to you, Leia.
And I was like, oh, that's such a sweet moment. Wait a second. This is Alderaan. There isn't going to be an Alderaan real soon. No! Yeah, man, it really hit me. Completely forgot that's where we are. We're seeing Alderaan. We're seeing the planet that gets destroyed by the Empire. This peaceful, beautiful place. All gone. Man, it's heartbreaking. This show is dark, man. Going on some... Oh boy, Leia. I'm so sorry. It's really tragic.
One day this planet will...
Negotiation? Negotiation? How dare you speak of negotiation? We've lost all communication. Can you guys imagine if C.O. Bibble was actually a Sith Lord? I can totally see it. You must contact me. Are you absolutely sure that a communications disruption can mean only one thing? Invasion! So I just found this video that's a Japanese dub of Revenge of the Sith. And man, Anakin and Obi-Wan's duel is the most dramatic thing I have ever seen. I mean, the English version is dramatic, but they've somehow managed to make it potentially even more dramatic. Listen to their voices.
歯止めは僕のものだ。お前の怒りと力への渇望が破滅を招いた。お前の負けだ。地の利を得たぞ。僕の力を見くびるんじゃない。やめとけ。
The acting is great as well. Man, I feel my heart is being wrenched from my chest.
裏切りを仕向けたら。お前自身が招いたのだ。
You turned against me. Oh man. Okay, brutal. I can't do this. Sorry. I every time I watch this movie, I start crying. I can't, man. Stop. Nope. I'm leaving. I gotta go. Bye.
None of this was stored properly. It's all compressed.
Perhaps you've expanded?
This has to be the best bone in all of Star Wars. Literally, wife telling husband, perhaps you've expanded. You fat bastard. Look at them, so fat and satisfied. Clearly, it's not going to clip in. Have you ever heard a better burn in Star Wars, though? Seriously. Like, the writing in the show is top tier. Even the jokes, even the memes. He continues to expand by the second. And then freaking dies of a heart attack because clearly he's too fat. Man, just totally savage towards this character. Tony Gilroy did not hold back with the writing on this one. Why is Anakin always running? Anakin is running to tell Palpy that he got denied the rank of Master. Anakin is running because he wants to make use of his legs while he still can. Oh. Anakin is practicing how long it takes to get to the youngling room. Okay, I could see that. Anakin is running because the rule, no running in the Jedi Temple, doesn't apply to the Chosen One. Will he bring balance to the Force? Anakin is running because he saw Rey burying his lightsaber in Tatooine in the sand. Is Anakin not the most memeable character ever? Anakin is running to the toilet after lunch at Dexter's. Anakin is running because he's avoiding the rise of Skywalker. Oof, low blow. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen watched the high ground scene together. And after Anakin gets sliced up, Hayden Christensen's like, you even warned me you had the high ground. And then Ewan says this.
I've had $1 for every time someone's told me I had the high ground.
You kind of do, Ewan, don't you? I mean, you've come back to do the Obi-Wan series. You're doing all the marketing. I'm sure they've paid you pretty well. And I'm sure if you added up all your dollars now, you probably do have $1 for every time someone said high ground to you. Because then I can imagine it's probably millions of times. Can you imagine how many times this guy has heard someone say high ground to him? Literally millions. I'm not even kidding. Walking down the street, literally every day of his life, the rest of his life is cursed now. He's going to hear the words high ground 100%. Hello there and high ground every single day. Can you imagine living like that? Sounds like a dream. Did you know that Michael Jackson wanted to play Jar Jar Binks in The Phantom Menace? This is according to Ahmed Best, the guy who ended up playing Jar Jar. He said that Michael Jackson campaigned for the role of Jar Jar, but George Lucas didn't want him to play him because his star status would be too much for the film and bring too much attention when it was in production. How different a film would have The Phantom Menace been had Michael Jackson actually played Jar Jar? He's just moonwalking his way across the sands of Tatooine. Maybe he would have invented new dance moves for Star Wars. The Tatooine Walk. Is it just me, or is Ewan McGregor sounding a lot more like Alec Guinness with each line he says in Obi-Wan Kenobi?
When the time comes, he must be trained.
I remember old interviews of Ewan talking about how he based his accent in Revenge of the Sith, in the prequels, on that of Alec Guinness's performance in A New Hope and the original Star Wars films.
I always watch a lot of Alec Guinness before I start. I have done each time, but this time I got them to make up a looped reel of all his scenes. But in this case, it's quite handy because I'm that bit closer to him now.
And you can really see that coming through here again. He's gone back into that zone and delivering his lines like he's the 60-something-year-old bearded man that we saw in the original trilogy. On old Ben Kenobi's arm, you can actually see the copyright Lego logo, as if it's the real Lego minifigure. You can also see the logo on Luke's arm as he nearly kills himself with his dad's lightsaber. And this is a reference to the shot of Mark Hamill looking directly down the lightsaber when he was in Obi-Wan's little hut here. For those wondering, no, he doesn't actually do this in the film. It's just a behind-the-scenes photo, which up until a few years ago, Mark Hamill himself wasn't even sure of. So Hayden Christensen was just asked to describe his character Anakin, and the first thing he said was this:
Jedi Knight, never a Jedi Master.
So he's literally acknowledging that Anakin was never a Jedi Master, only a Jedi Knight. I feel like Hayden really understands the memes. He really gets the fans and is just like, yeah, man, I'm down with those memes. You were denied the rank of Master. And he also describes Anakin as a very complex character, someone who really wants power and has an inner struggle.
There's also a lot of inner conflict, and there's certainly an inner sort of struggle of identity.
We're on. Start your run.
I'm in my gym. I'm Mr. Action Man here. There's my ball, my mats, all my weapons. Here's my new t-shirt. I forgot to put that on. Look. Oh. We're starting up a new band called Bombastic.
Did you know that the boy band NSYNC with Justin Timberlake were actually in Attack of the Clones? Well, that is until they were eventually cut. The boy band members originally appeared as Jedi, swinging around lightsabers in the Battle of Geonosis. They were extras in the background amongst the hundreds of other Jedi. So why were they cut out of the film? Well, apparently it was for legal reasons. NSYNC were part of the Screen Actors Guild, which meant that to leave them in the film, George and Lucasfilm would have had to pay the Screen Actors Guild. So it was literally a contractual thing, and they decided not to do it, so they cut their scene out entirely. Can you imagine seeing a boy band like this in Star Wars in the background, though? The amount of cameos. Justin Timberlake was nearly in Star Wars. What? This would have been the beginning of his acting career before The Social Network. Can you imagine the Star Wars backstory, the lore that would have been created around these background Jedi? Oh yes, this is Jedi Master Timberlake. I want that backstory. Can someone please write that backstory? Because I guess even if there's no footage, even if they're not in the deleted scenes, they still somewhere existed as Jedi for a brief moment. We need this. We need their backstory. Who are they? So you know how in Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5, Vader has his little duel with Reva, absolutely owns her, and then just as he stabs her, the Grand Inquisitor conveniently walks in at that time. Was Vader like,
all right, now, when I'm done dealing with Reva, I want you to walk in and surprise her.
Hello.
Crazy to think, if Disney let George do what he wanted, we would have gotten a sequel trilogy with Maul training Talon and running a criminal empire while fighting Luke's new Jedi Order. Why did no one tell me this earlier? Dude, this is like the Darth Maul game, except actually in film form and released. Let's do the Maul thing. Let's do it. Let's put George back in charge. Get up there, man, and get Darth Talon. Finally, your fantasy.
I want you to get out of this office right now. And I got your voucher.
Don't you guys just love the Jedi Code? I mean,
the Jedi Code is like an itch.
Once they start killing, they cannot stop. I think the Jedi Code is, yep, I got me a lightsaber. I'm going to go around, kill as many people as possible in my supposed act of judgment. As Mace Windu once wisely said,
we're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
Here is the evidence of that. So I've been going through and watching certain Star Wars scenes in different languages, and I've stumbled across the French version. And I have to say, this scene in particular is somehow even more dramatic than the English version. How is that possible? This is like the greatest turning point in all the films.
Ton destin est lié au mien, Skywalker. Obi-Wan le savait.
Non.
Impressionnant. Très impressionnant.
For some reason, the French version has so much more gravitas. It's scary, man.
À ce conflit destructeur, ils ramèneront l'ordre dans la galaxie.
Je ne serai jamais votre allié. Il a dit que vous l'avez tué.
Non. Je suis ton père.
I feel like I'm watching one of those late night French movies they show on TV. Look, it's your rail poof, everyone! Long-necked from Adult Swim.
Is everyone on the council dead?
Robot Chicken, anyone?
Hey everyone, I'm Yoda!
This character has the most hilarious lightsaber swinging sounds in the game. Listen to your rail poof. Swing the lightsaber.
Right behind you. Wait!
So that's it. Fortress Inquisitorius.
It's impenetrable, Wade.
Got you slowly. Just go. Right behind you.
The Star Wars Kids YouTube channel has animated Lego Star Wars shorts that are actually kind of fun. I've never even been on this channel. Like this one about a battle droid who's spooked in a field of pumpkins. He's freaking out and then is captured and reprogrammed by the Bad Batch to do their bidding. Baby Yoda eats literally all the trick-or-treats. Meanwhile, Din is struggling to overcome Gideon in the hallway, just freaking out. And then he's like, oh my gosh, Baby Yoda, you ate everything. Slave 1 gets redecorated into a ghost, a mummy, and then, dear God, what is this? I can't believe they just did this. I literally can't. Andor just did something I thought we would never hear or see in Star Wars. The first proper swear word was just dropped. The S-bomb.
Shit. We're under siege.
If that's not saying something about this show and the direction Disney are taking this, then I don't know what is. Man, who would have thought? There's one other time where I'm pretty sure Lando came very close to saying it, but was cut off. But this takes Star Wars to another level. It's a whole new thing. It's new territory, new ground, and definitely fits the tone of the show. But obviously, you might have noticed this show doesn't really have that classic Star Wars humor like we're used to, the goofiness. For example, if this was in The Mandalorian, Linus Mosk here would have potentially said something like Pooter. I don't think Tony Gilroy is going to be happy with any character in the show saying Pooter, though. He's going the real deal. Dropping S-bombs. We'll see if we get any more. I think this is probably going to be the only one, but man, it's happened, people. All right, so get this. British actor Daniel Craig has been named an honorary commander in the British Navy to match the rank of his character, James Bond. How epic is that? And then this guy in the comments is like, Ewan McGregor should be granted the honorary title of Grandmaster Jedi to match Obi-Wan Kenobi's rank in Star Wars, dude. Can you imagine? Let's give Ewan McGregor an actual title, Jedi Master. Yeah! So Ewan McGregor was just asked, what are the most common Star Wars quotes you get shouted at in the street? And I think we can all guess what his response was.
I get hello there all the time. And high ground. Anything, lots of high grounds and lots of hello there's.
And then Hayden's response is just,
May the Force be with you.
Come on, Hayden. We know people are shouting, you were the chosen one at you. You were the chosen one! That's definitely what I'd shout at Hayden if I saw him in the street. He's just having a normal day, getting some groceries, getting some coffee. You were supposed to bring balance to the Force! So I've been going through and listening to the Star Wars films in different languages. Not that I speak different languages, but Yoda in Italian sounds hilarious.
Il lato oscuro getta la sua ombra su tutto. Impossibile da vedere.
He's like some old gruff man who just wants to sip his morning coffee and instead has to deal with Palpatine and the Senate and all this galactic nonsense, and he's like, listen to him.
Terribile. Vedervi incolume, il cuore di gioia mi riempie.
I'm going to keep going through different languages, finding things to show you, because listening to Star Wars in a different language must be an entirely different experience. People would have grown up with listening to Italian Yoda. He sounds like this.
In grave pericolo, voi siete.
It's not even like Yoda. Bombastic, what is your favorite death in Star Wars? Super easy for me. Jango Fett. It's the most brutal, the most ridiculous over, and it was going to be even more brutal than originally intended. Look at this. Jango Fett, deleted scene. Look, Mace was going to end up slicing him up more ways than one. In the end, they just cut his blaster off and then his head, but man, he was going to get totally wrecked. I think there's one thing we can all agree is the best moment to come out of the Book of Boba Fett, and that is the spin. This guy could take out the entire Pike Syndicate all on his own. Just keeps on spinning. So aboard the TNT-4, if you pull on these two levers, you'll actually see Vader choking some poor rebel behind this window. But here's a little trick. Before you pull the levers to see through the window, if you use R2 to zap a stormtrooper and then push the stormtrooper towards this door, he'll automatically open it for you. Then head to the window, pull the levers, you'll see Vader choking the poor rebel, and then run back to the door you just opened, open this up with C-3PO, and unfortunately, it's too late to save our poor rebel friend. Oh, he is choked into oblivion. But he can be avenged! You can kill the Stormtrooper, the Imperial, and even Darth Vader! The things you can do in old Lego games. Guys, allow me to present to you the only character ever to have died from a stab wound in Star Wars. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. I know there are a couple others that died from a stab wound, but seriously, good old stab wound is back himself. There were so many times towards the end of this episode where I thought it was going to end. There were like 5 times. I was like, oh man, it's going to end. There's going to be no Qui-Gon. Please don't end. No, don't end. No. Oh, there he is. Okay. It's really good seeing Liam Neeson back. It's good to see him taking a break from trying to save his daughter. He still hasn't found her, it seems. He's living in the desert now with Obi-Wan. They're going for a walk. Qui-Gon's like, so did you train the boy like I asked? It's a long story, bro. Can we get this series now, please? Obi-Wan Season 2 needs Liam Neeson. Who are you? I'm Rey. Rey who? Matt, the radar technician.
What do you guys think of Kylo Ren? Do you guys believe when he says that he's gonna finish what Darth Vader started?
Good old Kylo in disguise.
Tim! Oh no, he's choking on food.
Who are you? I'm Rey. Rey who? You may fire when ready. So for literally no reason at all, at the end of this episode, as Tala, Obi-Wan, and Leia are escaping Fortress Inquisitorius, Tala shoots a mouse droid. And the poor little thing squeals off. Like, what? Why did that need to happen? Was she just aiming somewhere else? No. I think she literally intentionally aimed for the mouse. What do mice droids even do? Do they have a purpose? Are they like security droids? Are they just like, you know, like Roombas? Do they clean the hallways? Are they like vacuum cleaners? Didn't need to be shot out here. It was just chilling, was just having a good time, and then bang! Suddenly it's got a hole in its face. Poor little guy. So recently I've been going and watching certain Star Wars scenes in different languages, and I just watched the high ground scene in German. I don't speak German, but to me, this sounds hilarious.
Ich hätte wissen müssen, dass die Jedi planen, die Herrschaft zu übernehmen. Es ist vorbei, Anakin. Ich stehe deutlich über dir.
It's so great hearing the emotion of all the different actors in different languages. Like they're still trying to impart the same emotion Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are experiencing in these scenes.
Es hieß, du würdest die Sith vernichten und nicht, dass du dich ihnen anschließt. Ich hasse euch!
Shout out to X-Clips, who just made a clip about the Italian General Grievous and gave me a shout out for my Japanese Revenge of the Sith clip. Go watch that one if you haven't seen it. Hilarious. You know that George Lucas actually said he would have made Boba Fett's death more exciting had he known Boba would become such a popular character.
His history has been told in the first trilogy. You know, it makes it even more of a misstep that we wouldn't make more out of the event of his defeat.
I mean, the guy only had 4 lines of dialogue in Empire Strikes Back, and yet he became such a phenomenon.
Boba Fett was just another one of the minions, another one of the bounty hunters and bad guys.
Saying that Boba was just another one of the minions and another bounty hunter hurts, man. What are you talking about? It's Boba Fett. But just think, had George killed Boba differently, the legend of the character wouldn't have been born. We wouldn't have the Book of Boba Fett. For nearly 40 years, people wouldn't have been speculating whether or not Boba escaped the Sarlacc. Guys, there's something in the Order 66 scene from Obi-Wan that really bothers me. This first clone that comes in, right? They're all doing their Tai Chi dance. It's beautiful. Yeah, lovely in the garden. And then the clones come in, and this guy is like, 1, 2, 3 shots. He misses. He misses all 3 shots. Look at that. She's standing still. She doesn't even move for the first 2. And then the third one, she gently steps to the right and dodges it. But come on. This guy had Stormtrooper aim. He's a clone. These are trained clone troopers. That's the problem. That's the problem I have here. If these are of the DNA of Jango Fett, there is no way this clone is missing this shot. Perhaps this is not a real clone. It's a Stormtrooper. It's just some dude who rocked up who was wearing the clone armor. He's like, yeah, I'm joining Order 66. I always hated Jedi. 4th shot is on target, finally, and she deflects it. My goodness. Clearly didn't go to clone trooper school. So in 1987, The Empire Strikes Back aired on television in the US for the first time ever. And one thing you probably didn't know, there was actually an intro for the television event from Darth Vader himself. Take a listen.
Welcome
Through this intergalactic broadcast, your planet and thousands like it are witnessing the glorious victory of the Galactic Empire.
Oh man, guys, I really miss the days when TV events were so special and something you would plan and wait for and look forward to. It's like, oh my gosh, they're showing Star Wars on TV for the first time ever. This would have been insane for so many people back then as well. This film came out in 1980. People probably hadn't seen it in 7 years. Then it aired on TV. They taped it and watched it over and over again. Actually getting James Earl Jones to do the voice for this though, really cool. Had no idea he did any commercial work like this. Good on you, James. Wasn't it George Lucas who said Star Wars is supposed to be for kids? Someone said it was for kids anyway. Well, they've certainly gone away from that. Isn't Disney supposed to be for kids? I like that Obi-Wan is literally the least Disney this could possibly be. There has never been a more violent episode of a Star Wars show than this one. Dude gets sliced in half. Obi-Wan obliterates a group of stormtroopers. Darth Vader grabs and chokes this poor dad and snaps his son's neck. Like, what? He can't do that. Dragging this poor person along the ground. Come on, Vader. I think it's enough. Dude, relax. Jesus.